Hey art friends, welcome back to Art a la carte, and in this video I'm going to show you how to draw a cheetah. Now, I'm just going to tell you, if you think you know what a cheetah looks like, but you haven't really looked at a picture of a cheetah, drawing a cheetah is going to be weird. Because if you look at them, they're not proportional. And when you're drawing them, it may be really hard. You might want to make things different proportion. And I know this because I have tried to do this tutorial before, and I drew a really great cheetah, and I just kept looking and I'm like, why doesn't it look like a cheetah? It looks like a leopard. Why? And it was because my eyes refused to really accept the proportions of a cheetah, and I went with what my instinct told me would be a normal proportion, and it changes it into a leopard. So I'm going to show you, and it may look a little weird, but if you look at a photo, and I'll put a reference photo here in the video as I'm doing it so you can see I'm not lying. They really have an unusual proportion to their body, but this really makes them what they are. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with the head shape, which I'm just going to represent with a circle here. And then this is where it starts getting weird. First I'm going to put the backbone in here, and I'm just going to kind of go like that with the backbone. Very light line there. I can fix it as I need to go. Kind of a longer neck in comparison to the head. Let me just say right off the bat, the cheetah's head is tiny. They have these tiny little heads, and their neck is about as thick as their head. It doesn't really come in and down. It just, right off their jaw, it kind of comes right in. And then they have these massively huge chests. I mean, they're known as the fastest animal in the world, right? And so they're going to need a huge heart and lung capacity. So it's just this huge chest in comparison to their tiny little heads. And they've got these really nice shoulders right up here, and this really just lengthy, kind of like a super long back. I mean, again, a really weird proportion, and my thing is not focusing. So you have this kind of almost triangle, elongated triangle shape here, because as it comes over their barrel or their rib cage, as soon as it comes to the end, it just goes shinking up, because they're hairy. I mean, they're meant for speed, so they're not going to have a lot of fat on them. So they're like the bodybuilders, I don't know, of the animal kingdom. So this huge chest, very skinny undercarriage, and then these ginormously huge back legs, and then the rest of them are just legs. They have legs for miles. So here's their hips. It is so funny to draw them, because my mind's saying, no, don't do this. This is not normal, but this is normal for a cheetah. They have ginormous back legs on this very skinny little body. So nice long legs, just long and lengthy down to their padded feet. There's the back one right here. And I opted to do a pose that isn't a running position, simply because you really have to see them just standing to really understand that when they're stretched out running, it's not just that optical illusion of things, the stretch and squash effect that you get, but they really are just lengthy and long and skinny and bulky all at the same time. And then their front legs, they have great shoulders coming down here to their back, and again, just super long leg with a paw. Other leg. Just like so. And then they have this super long tail, which the tail is their key for control. While they're running, if you watch a video of them running, their tail is what helps them make the turns. Otherwise, they would just kind of do like a roll. But you'll see their tail, as they start to do a turn, it just starts spinning in a circle. It's really kind of fun to watch, and that's just the way they were created to help keep their balance as they're running, but nice and thick. It's a thick tail. It's kind of just their anchor point there. Okay, so again, looking really weird. Let's get on to the head here. So they have these tiny little ears. They're just the cutest little thing. probably my favorite thing about the cheetah is their the sound they make, which isn't like, you know, the lions are like roar and all that, and they make just these little chirps. They chirp, and they just have the cutest little sound. They have a really, really broad forehead, kind of comes down, and then kind of mushes right into their snout, which in proportion to their head is normal, but in proportion to their body is really small. And so then it comes down to his bottom jaw right here. And so you look at this and you think, there's something off on this. That's really not. This is why I have the hardest time posting this cheetah video, because to really get the cheetah is just different. So I'm going to start adding in some of his markings, and he has this really cool line that comes down from his eye down to his mouth. And they kind of have these just really black lines around their lips, and I'll put in a little tooth right there. So working out a little bit more detail for his nose. He has this really triangular shaped nose, and it comes down to his top lip. And then just some of the patterning that's going on. I'm going to kind of clean up the line I don't need now. Right there. Okay, and then I want to get some good muscle in his back of his neck. As it comes back over his shoulders, put a little bit of a ruffle of his fur. And then his backbone. Okay, so his neck comes down here, and then his shoulders and his chest kind of come under here. And then these just massive, long, and they have power in them, but they are really just slender. They're not like the big bulk that you would see in a lion or in a tiger. I almost kind of think of them as more of like the greyhound of the cat family, because I mean, just both those animals are built for speed. They've got just the right muscles just where they need them. Really big paws. Again, the underbelly, which does this just really cool curve up. And they just look like they're always starving, which, I mean, I'm sure it's not easy living in the wild, but they are just the skinny cats of the world. Right up here, going up into the tail. Alright, so we have our cheetah, and still, you know, if you look at it, you think, make that head bigger and give it a little bit more weight. Poor skinny little guy in the back and just gangly. But we're going to go ahead and begin adding his spots. Before I do that though, before I add my spots, I'm going to go ahead and shade in my my shadows first. And the reason I do this before I put the spots in is because when I move my pencil over the spots, it's going to blend those out too much. And so I add my shading in first. Once you have the shading the way you want it, then you can come in with a darker pencil. I'm going to use a 3B and I'm going to add my spots. My neck, chest area, and rump area, they're all pretty much evenly spaced. As they come down the legs, they get into a little bit of a striped pattern where they're still circles, but they're striping themselves. And you'll see that very strongly as you go down the tail. It'll get more and more ringed as it comes down. And in the face, the spots get a lot smaller and thinned out. You can see as you get done putting in your spots that all of a sudden the eye begins to recognize this is not some mutated, weird looking creature. But now you're like, oh, okay, it's the cheetah. I totally get it now. But until you get to the spot part and it makes your eyes recognize it and go, okay, I got it. It can be challenging to draw. At least for me. I don't know, maybe it isn't for you. So let me know in the comment box below. Is it a challenge for you to draw things like this, like cheetahs that are kind of have a different proportion than its normal species? Or do you find it easy? Yeah, there's just some things that are hard for me to draw, and this was one of them because I just had to. This was one of the times that I couldn't follow my instincts, my artistic instincts. I had to really follow a reference photo. Because if I followed my instincts, it turns out into a leopard every single time. So, trick of the trade, if you want to change this into a leopard, make it less skinny and give it a bigger head, and you will have getting closer to looking like a leopard. Thanks so much for drawing with me today, and if you do draw this cheetah, I would love to see what yours look like, so post them in my Facebook page, and I'll put the link in the description box below. So until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye!